and welcome. This is NTA Tuesday Live, and I'm Cyril Stober. Now, the issue of direct financial allocation to local governments has been widely discussed of recent, and this is following the directive by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, that local government allocations will be directly paid into local government accounts beginning from the 1st of June this year. Now, the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit said the decision was taken following allegations of money laundering, security-related issues, and that it is therefore incumbent on the government to take necessary steps to not only stem corruption and ensure that money allocated to the local governments is used for the people, but also to respond to threats of isolation of the Nigerian financial system by other international financial systems. Now, some members of the National Assembly have already risen in support of this, and they've called on all Nigerians, including corporate bodies, to queue behind the directive. Matter of fact, they've even moved a motion to that effect. Tonight on NTA Tuesday Live, our focus is on the operation of local government accounts and matters arising. Let me go straight ahead and introduce our guests to you. I'd like to welcome to this program Governor Abdul'aziz Yari of Zamfara State. Thanks for being here, Mr. Governor.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me also welcome Ibrahim Khalil, who is President, Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees, Nolge. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
And also tonight, joining us from our Lagos Network Center is Dr. Tunji Abayomi, a constitutional lawyer. Dr. Abayomi, good to see you. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Good evening, Cyril.
Now, as we always do, at the appropriate time on this program, you can get to be part of the discussion in the studio. The various platforms will be on your screen. We advise you take advantage of them. However, as we always say every Tuesday, for those who will be phoning in tonight, do us a favor. When your call gets through to the studio, turn down the volume of your TV set. Just reduce the volume. That's the way to avoid the hurlback or echo. Now, the best way to know that your call has been passed through to the studio is you'll see your name appear on screen. Once you see your name on screen, it signifies that your call is direct to the studio, and you just go right ahead. Don't bother about the greetings, just go straight, make your point, ask a question, make your contribution, and whatever issues you raise, I guess, would address them. And I would like to advise that you keep those views straight to the point and as short as possible, precise, so that other people can get on the platform too and also air their views. So, welcome once again to NTA Tuesday Live. The matter is about direct allocations to local governments. And this discussion, which has been raging for some days now, it's following the directive by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit that from the 1st of June, these allocations will go direct to the local government. So let's begin to find out. And as we ask Governor Abdul'aziz Yari, when you heard about that, what was your immediate thought?
No, I am shocked to hear that an agency give directives to a tier of government under the Constitution. I'm just shocked because the Constitution is very clear. This is Section 162 of the Nigerian Constitution, who clearly says, if I can read, that the state shall maintain a special account to be called state local government joint account. This is a constitutional problem in Nigeria. And any law by National Assembly that is in tandem with this constitution is null and void. So who is that person in the agency who say give directives on go and do it? It happened in 2000. And the Supreme Court judgment is very clear. Abia State, Lagos State, the federal government. How can somebody wake up over a night and bring something there against the Constitution? Are we in anarchy? No. What are we doing? This is Nigeria. And we are governed by the rules and regulations, more especially the Constitution of Nigeria. From the president down to governor, down to councillor, down to everyone. This section of the Constitution, very clear, talk about Nigerian money. Totally is about how the money comes into the system, from federal to the share of territory of the government, and the establishment of this section or subsection of the Constitution. So how can an NFIU wake up and say it from so date? How about?
All right. Well, your initial reaction, but let's come to Brian Khalil, the president of the Union of Local Government Employees, NULGE. What was your impression?
Well, to the contrary, sincerely speaking, we as a union, when we heard about this guideline, we were happy, we were agitated, and to us it's a welcome development. It's a welcome development because our own interpretation is different from what the governor is saying. In the first place, the provision of the Constitution clearly define state local government joint account as collection account. It's not an expenditure account by whatever reason. It's meant to collect the revenue from the federation account, appropriated for a given number of local government per state, and it is also expected that from the state internally generated revenue, 10% is expected to come to that account. So the function of that account is only to collect on behalf of the number of local government in the state and to disburse. That's the only reason. And if you look at the guideline issued by the National Financial Intelligence Unit, there is nothing that is contrary to this provision. The guideline is only trying to safeguard, to protect, and to ensure that this money as it comes, they will not go anywhere other than the local government that are designed to collect those money from those accounts. That is what this guideline is aimed to achieve. And the guideline went further because of our experience of how the managers of this state local government joint account have been managing the account.
When you say the managers of the joint account, specifically who are we referring to?
It differs from state to state.
Well,
in some states, the state local government joint account is domiciled in the Ministry of Local Government.
right.
In some states, it's managed by the Ministry of Finance of the state. In some states, it's a special a committee put in place by the governor or the government of the state
Good.
to
And
manage the.
So these are the
account.
people you refer to
Yes,
as the managers.
of the.
Sometimes the governors, those in charge of the finance ministries, and the rest of them. All right.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So it went further and also provide some guidelines for how local government should key into the e-payment in order to safeguard the money and ensure accountability at that level of tier of government because of the huge allegations surrounding the operation of the state local government joint account and also the operation of the local government itself. And if Nigerians are following the trend of these things, our union had been championing, advocating for how this local government would be better off, would be functioning, can have some degree of independence, financially, democratically, and administratively, so that the issue of inclusiveness in governance can be achieved.
Okay. All right. Let's go over to our Lagos Center now. And Dr. Abayomi, you've listened to the two guests we have here. And I want you to give us your perspective. And in doing so, also bear in mind that of recent, there's also been a heated debate on a larger scale of complete financial autonomy for local government. So situate this for us in your perspective.
First and foremost, it is important to know that all institutions of government are expected to respect the Constitution. The Constitution as it is, I have said on this particular station that one of the problems of our nation is that our people have never agreed to a constitution of the people, by the people, and for the people. Notwithstanding, ad interim, we have accepted this particular constitution. And the first provision of the Constitution is that this Constitution is supreme, and its provisions shall have binding force on all authorities and persons throughout the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the first question we have to ask is, what is the provision of the Constitution with regard to monies coming to the benefit of local governments? Now, when you look at Section 162, subsection 6 to 8, the Constitution makes it very clear. The federal government cannot create an account separate or independent from the account all already created by the Constitution. And the only account that is created by the Constitution is called State Joint Local Government Account, to which the monies, and there are two sources of money that is expected to go into that account. The money coming from the federal government, as well as the money coming from the state. They are supposed to go into that account. Now, as to how that money is to be distributed, it is a joint responsibility, largely between the National Assembly and the Assembly of the States. In my view, to say that an agency of government directs that a certain money should go directly into the account of a local government, that would be a violation of the Constitution, I'm afraid. There is no such thing as an account of the local government to which the federal government can deposit the allocations going to local governments. The only account that is created by the Constitution and which is binding on the federal government is the State Joint Local Government Account. Now, if the federal government is of the view that there's an abuse or constant abuse of this particular account, it should do the needful, and that is to initiate or prepare an amendment to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and ensure that its interest to safeguard the money for the benefit of the people of the various local governments is inputted into that Constitution. In other words, the issue is not about benevolence. Regardless of how high the interest of the federal government is to protect the people, in a democracy, the the very essential issue is always the constitutionality of decisions of government.
Thank you very much. Let's back here in Abuja, Governor Abdul'aziz Yari. Well, you are chairman of the Governors Forum. You expressed your initial comments that you were shocked by this. Would that also be the opinion of your colleagues of the Governors Forum?
Absolutely. Because as the lawyer says, and that's my opinion, that whatever you're going to do, no matter how beautiful that initiative is, must be in line with the Constitution of Nigeria. There's no any account mentioned, I think if I'm not mistaken, in this Constitution, apart from the consolidated revenue account and then the state local government joint account. I think that's the only two accounts that I can be able to remember in this section of 162 that talks about the money. When we had that, we know the government of Muhammadu Buhari is law-abiding government. They can work up, as ever not in democratic setting, someone appointed by the law of National Assembly and the Constitution. President was by the Constitution, governor was by the Constitution, senator was by the Constitution, House of Reps was by the Constitution, and local government was by the Constitution. But NFIU, by the Act of National Assembly, agency, to start printing a guidelines. What democracy are we doing?
Now,
So the shock is all over within the governors, because we have been discussing this with the National Assembly interaction, more especially when it comes to the issue of constitutional amendment. This has been trying several times without number, and it fails. What does that mean? It's not because one is beneficial to that, but one in the room, he knows why it leaks. When I'm in the House of Representatives, I champion the independent autonomy of local government. I champion it. I'm part of the people that are saying local government must be independent in terms of election, in terms of financial autonomy, or etc. So when I get stepped into the room, some governors telling me, no, honorable member, you are just saying that because you are not there. I'm looking at it as upside down. They are talking about something different. So when I step in there, I can carefully look at this here, I can understand.
Right.
So therefore, it's not about the autonomy of local government, or it's not about finances. If you look at what are the finances goes to local government since the creation, during the military, monies are going, monies are coming in, what are the real achievement of those funds? What are they achieved? But count from 20 years to date, go to respective local government and see. At least you will see one or two things that what was made with those funds. And don't forget that local government as a tier, this constitution will have borrowed the system from the United States. How are the United States doing this system? How are they doing it? How are they doing it? What is the county responsibility? What is the state responsibility? And also at the federal. Is federal interference with the local government, with the state? No, we're independent there. And the Constitution, Section 7, is very clear that even laws we are going to do, the management of the of local government, National Assembly, and State Assembly, largely, and also the rules we are going to do, we should do it in the convenience of the community. So, in fact, I'm still, up to now, talking to you on the state of shock, because whatever we're going to do, we should respect this book that we agree with.
All right, Mr. Governor, let's say for the purposes of this argument, the exigencies of the moment, it's said that this arose from complaints of, money laundering, worries about misapplication of funds.
How?
Well, these are the fears that have been expressed. And so if you did this, then you probably would.
No. This is misinterpretation of what is going on. How can a chairman or governor says approve, or president says approve, and call that money laundering? How? Because that's the authority. The NFIU Act, what he quoted or he mislead people here. The Act only says that monitor the performance of account to protect, one, let me start with what is that money laundering, to protect the armed appropriation, and also to protect the issue of money going for terrorism.
Okay.
That's what, and when you get this information, what the Act says, inform the right agencies. That's the only work of NFIU. Apart from it, I challenge anyone in this Act. This is the Act, 2018, signed by Muhammad Buhari. This is the Act. And that's only what they are asked to do. No more, no less. How could they go further and say they are giving guidelines to the government of the Constitution? This is the Constitution. They enact the state, local government, introduce joint account, and no. This is not democracy. Okay. No matter how people are saying this system.
All right. Ibrahim Khalil, you say your union is in support.
Yeah.
And you say principally you support this move because of allegations of misapplication of local government funds. And you also talked about money laundering or so.
Yeah, money laundering.
Beyond just accepting, what you believe will address these issues, as a union, as NULGE, what have you done to try to stem the tide of this mismanagement which you say you see in the system?
Well, before responding to your question, I think it's very, very important to revisit what the lawyer in Lagos tried to shed light on. The guideline issued by the NFIU does not provide for creation of any new account.
Okay, so which
that needs to be very, very clear.
Which account now is it talking about direct allocation?
Sorry, let me come in here, President.
Right.
First and foremost, before you even go to discussion, does this NFIU has the obligation to issue any guidelines to a state or local government by the act of NFIU? Before you go into the discussion.
All right.
If they don't, then what they're doing is null and void. We shouldn't even waste time on discussing it.
So what I'm trying to explain is that there is no mention in the guideline issued by this agency on creating a new account.
So which account?
Whatever purpose.
Which account?
They are still referring
to the
state account mentioned in the Constitution.
That's the state.
The state local government joint account. What they are saying is very clear. All monies coming from the federation account to the state local government joint account, all monies coming from state IGR to state local government joint account should not go to anywhere other than the local governments that are prescribed by law to collect those monies. But the question here is that the managers of this account, in all honesty, are they administering this money in tandem with Constitution, the provision of the Constitution we are talking about?
You are president of NULGE, so tell us, are they?
The truth is that there are a lot of misappropriation taking place on that account. And to us, this guideline is to protect and preserve funds meant for local government going somewhere. I'm not only a unionist, I'm a practical local government worker. I'm a treasurer of the local government council. I know what I'm saying. I know a lot of things are happening at the level of that account. This money are meant for local government, for God's sake. They are not expenditure account. This account we are talking about is not expected to pay any kind of expenditure. It's only to collect and disburse. That is the purpose of the account. The Constitution is here, it's very clear. And this agency is financial intelligence agency of the federal government. And when you talk of federal government, state, local governments, inclusive.
No.
That is the truth.
No.
Perhaps let's. Okay.
Let me. But you see, that's the problem. I can understand from where he came from. Local government, as the Constitution very clear says here, section 6 to 8 of 100 and subsection 6 to 8 of section 162, specifically speak about the money of local government. Putting into joint account in pouring it on transit to the respective local government. Yeah. That's what it is. And that's which an every state, I thought, they are doing. Because that's what we're doing. But when it comes to, there's when you go to section 7, it's also give you that if anything that convenient, that's why I think why he's talking about there is not expenditure account, but that expenditure cannot be done without you people, treasurer, secretary, and the local government chairman.
So sometimes
if there's anything there.
So sometimes,
for instance, let me come.
Right.
Because let me ask about the salary. Some of them, he know they cannot even pay salaries. The salaries come and pool in the center. For instance, let me give my case study. When I came in, each and every local government is taking money first, send the money there, and then pay salary. When I came about 7 local government cannot pay. So we now agree with the local government and the state assembly, which administration and finances lays on the state assembly by the section of this constitution. Very clear. So we now said, okay, let's center the salary. We know each and every salary of the local government and have a kind of a warehouse where we are going to pay salary from the joint direct with the agreement of local government and the state assembly, for us to abate from having problem of issuing money there and then salary will not be paid. And as I'm talking to you today, he is, as a president, know very well that teachers, local government, some cannot even pay salary. They have to augment from the state and go and do that expenditure. That's very clear. So when they come from in 2018, when they are looking at the what do you call it, repeal of the Constitution, regarding to that section, we talked to them. We talked to the assemblies. We talked to the Norgate. We come to the National Assembly. We said, look, no governor is against the amendment of the Constitution to that giving the autonomy. But the problem is, can you manage? For instance, everyone give that within the forum, we have even give analysis. How many local government can pay the salary of teachers? How many cannot pay? We brought it and then we passed it to presidency. Look at where we are. So nobody is interested in taking the funds of local government just as a saying money laundering. No, it's abuse of the system. It's abuse of the system, and this cannot take us anywhere.
All right.
Because when you are trusted with responsibility, that trust must be given to you unless otherwise.
Okay.
So that's why we're saying that we're short with the.
Okay.
What was there?
Khalil, we'll get back to you in just a moment because we'd like to find out some of the allegations you raised. But let's go over to Lagos and get back to Dr. Abayomi. There are questions raised on whether or not the NFIU has the powers to even issue a directive like that. So perhaps maybe you can guide us on what the Constitution says.
In our country, we keep talking, particularly from the local government perspective. They keep talking of independence of local government. The Constitution does not create and certainly does not anticipate what is called independent local government. The Constitution of Nigeria creates dependent local government, not independent local government. And the dependency of the local government is to the state. Now, if you look at, you will better appreciate this, if you look at Section 7 of the Constitution, it says the system of local government by democratically elected local government councils is under this Constitution guaranteed. And accordingly, the government of every state, and I'm emphasizing this, the government of every state, and it's talking of the several states, shall subject to Section 8 of this Constitution ensure their existence under a law which provides for the establishment, structure, composition, finance, and functions of such councils. The question is, if there is an abuse, what is the role of the federal government? The federal government has no role in it. I'm talking of the federal legislative arm. The arm that has a role is actually the House of Assembly of the state. For example, when a government abuses its power, can the National Assembly summon that government to make account? It cannot. The Constitution creates 3 divisions of government, and it establishes the plenitude of those divisions: the federal government, the state government, and the local government. And it subjects the authority over the local government, gave it to the states, not to the federal government. Therefore, if there's an abuse, the proper forum that can deal with the governor is the House of Assembly. And I believe that is why Section 162, subsection 8, provides that, if I may again refer you to it, the amount standing to the credit of local government council of state shall be distributed among the local government councils of that state on such terms and in such manner as may be prescribed by the House of Assembly of the state. What we need to do, in my view, is to ensure that the houses of assembly, which in large measure are largely appendages of the governors in our state, are strong enough and empowered to be able to do their job to hold the governor accountable. I don't think the way to correct abuse is to take away a right that is prescribed and given to the government of the state over the local government. So in my view, the NFIS has no such power to prescribe to a state when the Constitution gives that state the authority over local government. If I were a governor of the state, I think I would take that to court. I'm simply, because in order to ensure that the government, the federal government itself is controlled. The federal government cannot exercise illimitable power. It can only exercise a power that is vested in it by the Constitution.
To you now, going by this, the state assemblies, now the Nulgi, which says it has found out that there have been abuses in the past.
Yeah.
And that question is still hanging. What have you been able to do to ensure that these houses of assembly in the various states where you have noticed this abuse, I'm thinking there are just some, or perhaps all of them,
yeah.
Okay? What have you done to take the case to those state houses of assembly?
Well, I think His Excellency also alluded from the beginning that there were several attempts to achieve some constitutional reforms in order to strengthen the institutional framework of local government. Because that is what we are saying. We are not talking about an independent local government that has nothing to do with state. That cannot stand, but it had been failing. Why is it failing? It's because the governors are not ready to allow it to happen. That is the issue.
Oh.
As a union, there is no state in this federation that we have not taken our campaign, agitation, to make this local government work. Because the critical issue we need to underscore in this debate is the issue of inclusion. And that is the main reason why local government are created not only in Nigeria, anywhere in the world. But are our local government in Nigeria working? The answer is no. They are rendered impotent, completely impotent.
Who by?
Because of the level of encroachment and interference they have been suffering from the state government. And also the weak state assemblies that have no capacity in most cases to demand for accountability from the state government.
Okay.
Because in all what the lawyer from Lagos mentioned from the Constitution, he didn't mention the powers of the governor over local government. He mentioned the powers of state assembly over the local government. But are the state assemblies enacting those laws? And are those laws be respected? And are they saying fraudulent activities are not taking place at the management of this state local government joint account?
Okay, let me also put another scenario to you. Just as they say, because these allegations are everywhere in the open. Just as they say that the states are muzzling the local governments, it's also been alleged that local governments themselves, when they do collect these monies, it doesn't go for anything to do with the people themselves. And it's either the chairman and a few executive members take off and deploy these funds to other uses. How have you responded to that as well?
Well, when you are talking of corruption, corruption, sincerely speaking, is everywhere in our society. Our local government is part of Nigeria. It cannot be an exception. But I believe one cannot hide under corruption and deprive local government what is its own preserved by the Constitution. The issue is that I keep on mentioning and reiterating on the issue of inclusion, because this is democracy. For you to have a stable democracy, you must have an inclusive development platform that will bring everybody on board. Okay. And that platform is local government.
Okay. We have our very first caller on the program tonight. Calling in from Lagos is Peter. Hello, Peter. Go ahead. Peter, are you there?
Yes, I'm on the line.
Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Evening.
I'm very, very grateful to Mr. Stoba. They have been doing a wonderful job so far. Hello?
Yes, go on.
Yeah. Our father from Lagos, I'm very, very appreciate your contribution to this program. And then my direct message goes to the His Excellency right there. Sir, if I may call you back to 1999, between the 1999 to 2003, the level of control of finance of the local government is quite different from what we're seeing now. And if you go to the society, that is what even leads power from people to caucus. And what I mean by the caucus is the political elite that hold the state. Why? Because the finance, the power, what the local government is supposed to be offering people at the local government area was not there. Because they don't have autonomous on their fund. The federal government, the system was divided into three: federal, state, and local. And then from the federation accounts, the fund that's supposed to go to the local government is not added to the state. But unlucky for the constitution, this we say we have, they mark them together on the joint accounts. But then, after 2003 to 1999 to 2003, this allocation go immediately directly to the local government. And immediately they have one or two things directly that they are doing that make people feel impact of the governance. But since then, I don't know what is happening. Maybe you can throw more light on this. Thank you. And then the Honorable Chairman of Noge, please continue. We know that one day we'll be there. But one day, they say hunter will go to farm and will not return. So let's wait and see. Mm-hmm. God bless you all.
Okay. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Right.
Peter, I think what we are saying is not from 1999 to 2003. is 1999 to 2000. When we came in newly in the system in 1999, there's a account, the proposal given by the NFI, that's exactly what used to happen in 1999. The money will go to account of local government in the Central Bank of Nigeria. And then, from there, the local government that were elected in 1999, they will propose their work, what they are going to do, and bring it to the assembly, to the executive examiner, and approve. And then money will be taken from each and every local government to finance that particular project. 1. 2, the issue of salary is being sorted out local government by local government 1999 to 2000 before the Supreme Court interpret the section of the Constitution that federal government has no business. And it comes to happen when the federal government decides to start giving contract on behalf of local government and start deduction from here in the center in Abuja here. So that's why the governors take this matter before the Supreme Court. And in 2000, the judgment come out and say that this is exactly what it is. 162 of the Constitution is very clear, and this is how it's going to be done. So that's why they started respecting the joint account from 2001, not 2003. So what we're saying, whatever you're going to do or you want to do, first, you have a constitution that you must respect. You must have a constitution that you respect first. If there's anything went on the contrary, that one will be kept as a null and void. And the person who issued the order, maybe this is why I developed democracy, he's not supposed to be in office, because he doesn't even know exactly what we want, what the Constitution specifically talk about, because this had a capacity to bring anarchy into the system. What the chairman Norge says, and what you just finished saying, each and every time there is a process not manned by the governors, but by the assembly. It's not the governors that saying that, okay, governors, how many governors were impeached by the assembly? So therefore, if there's any misappropriation, also there's a provided function by the law, by the Constitution. So therefore, that should be also looked into. So this responsibility is not a responsibility only for the governor, but the largely local government is by the administration, finances, by the Section 7 of the Constitution, under the watch of the state, is by the State Assembly, largely. So therefore, it's not that one day you'll be there, one day you'll not be there. At any point in time, you can be there. At the same time, as a sister agency in the NUT, is also going against what Norge is going for.
We have reconciled.
So therefore,
we reconcile.
That's what we know. But we as governors, we are not against any, if there's anything called independent, as the lawyer said, they are meant to be independent. Check the system where it's happening in America. Are there any independent county? It's no. So the answer is no. Why Nigeria? So, and also, what I'm challenging the system in Nigeria or the agencies are, how can you got a democratic setting of 200 years and copy and come and say you want to say it here in Nigeria? It's not possible. Okay. Go and ask America when they are 59 years of independence and 20 years of uninterrupted democracy, how are they living their own life? And how are you doing now? We can't do that. So if you say you are going to do that, then we're going to crash. That's automatically what the answer is. So gradually, this abuse they're doing, they have been doing it long time in the United States and other the well-developed countries. Okay. So there's a time that when the bad is bad, in the United States, the history is there, that they are throwing money for the citizens to eat and live life. So what are you talking about? So therefore, if we want to set any system to work, we must respect this document.
All right, Mr. Governor, we have another caller on the line. Calling in from Jigawa is Isa. Hello, Isa, are you there? Well, I think that we lost that call from Isa. Well, let's take this a little bit further. And the question of the state assemblies that you raised now, and you said the assemblies are powerless. Dr. Abayomi talked about working to firm up institutions such as the state assemblies. On what count would you say the state assemblies have been powerless to enforce the principles of checks and balances over the state governors?
It's not a hidden secret. We are all Nigerians. We know the kind of relationship between state governors and state assemblies. The truth of the matter is that most of the state assemblies are pocketed. Are pocketed by the governors. They do the governor's bidding. They don't do the oversight functions they're supposed to do as legislatures. If by the prohibition of this constitution, as His Excellency kept on talking about, the legislators of the state assemblies are oft undoing, nobody will even demand for any independence of local government. And the independence of local government we are talking about, I said from the beginning, it cannot be total. But even the America, we are giving an example. You can't tell me one state in America where a governor of the state decide to create vacuum between elected representative and another election. But in Nigeria, how many governors of the state intentionally delay the process of election for them to appoint their stooges and cronies to man the affairs of the local government?
Okay.
These are the issues. And the state assemblies are there.
You see, this is the problem.
The state assemblies are there.
This is the problem.
So there are a lot of confusion in the system.
There's no confusion.
Because the interest of
Okay.
few is
All right,
above the interest of many. That is the truth.
No, you and the system don't abuse the system because of tomorrow. Record will catch you.
Okay.
No problem.
Look, what is it? As I said, how can you copy a 200-year system of democracy to 20 years democracy? How can you do that? This is Nigeria.
But
wait,
Your Excellency, you kept on give example of America.
That's what I'm
cut my
saying.
mind.
That's what I'm saying. This is where we copy the system, is United States. And that's how they are doing it. That local government were not created to be independent but dependent on the state, wherever they were created. That's another one. In terms of operational system, you can't be America now today. You can't.
Well, Mr. Governor, at this point...
That means our governments cannot allow our local government to operate as a tier of government.
At the time, you go and ask them, how are they when they are 20 years of democracy?
All right, we'll return to this issue of who allows what, but let's go back to the phones now, and we have calling in from Kebbi, Sani Bello. Sani Bello, hello. Sani Bello, are you with us? Sani Bello from Kebbi. Right. Okay. We lost that call. But let's go over to Lagos for the time being. Dr. Abayomi, the argument has gone back and forth over whether, as it's alleged, the governors will allow local governments to perform their functions. Is it...
State Assembly.
I'm sorry, and the State Assembly. Is this an argument of they will allow or not allow? Or is this a constitutional matter that is just straightforward?
It's a constitutional matter that is quite straightforward. Nobody took away the powers of the houses of assembly. If they choose to be weak and feeble and unprotective of the rights of the people, and as well as unproductive, that's their choice. I think it was Thomas Paine who was addressing the American Congress, who said, for a nation to know liberty, all it needs to do is to will for it. And to know freedom, it is sufficient to work for it. The houses of assembly are empowered by the Constitution to monitor as a sort of a control, a check on the government of the states. If we look at that section 7, the power to make essentially all necessary laws to guide the local government is given to them. But if they fail to do it, there's not a whole lot. But there's an issue I also want to raise, Cyril, and that is that If you now talk of independence of receipt, you send the money directly to the account of the local government. How about expenditure? What happens? Is it also expected that the local government will simply spend the money of the people without some level of control? Then what happens to the high possibility of abuse? We speak about abuse, and you raised this issue earlier on. We speak about abuse, and we tend to focus a whole lot on the states when we are discussing this issue between the local government and the states. But the truth of the matter is that the more money that is available to the local governments, in all probability, the higher the abuse will be. So, and I believe that that's why the Constitution empowers the government of the state to ensure dependency monitoring, and also ensure the houses of assembly to monitor and ensure that the rights of the people as against expenditure by the government or the management of the resources is fully taken care of. So we speak so much about receiving the money. How about the expenditure? The local government cannot, under this constitution, decide to just spend money, at will, having regard to the provision of Section 7 of the Constitution. So the matter is straightforward. What we need to do is not just to focus so much our attention on the National Assembly in an orderly democracy that we want. It is important for us to focus greatly, too, on the houses of assembly. I think my understanding is that there's a move now to give the houses of assembly some level of independence in terms of the finances, their own management of their funds. With that, they will gain certain level of autonomy from the money influence imposed on them by the government, by the governors. But my position remains that the power does not lie with the federal government to manage directly or indirectly, or to control directly or indirectly, or to direct directly or indirectly the affairs of the local government. That prerogative belongs to the states in a system of government according to this constitution.
Right. Ibrahim Khalil, how do you respond to the issue of expenditure?
Yes. I think the lawyer in Lagos need to understand that local government is a complete system. Mm-hmm. We have what we call operational guidelines of the local government, mm-hmm. which was in place even before the 1999 Constitution. And in managing our resources as local government, we have what we call financial memorandum. Mm-hmm. Financial memorandum deals with how money comes in and how the administration of money takes place in local government. It is well-articulated document, and it didn't leave any stone unturned. So it's a complete system. So the issue of misappropriation is a matter of corruption we are talking about, which is everywhere, and which we are also challenging.
All right.
That is happening even at the level of...
So the local governments themselves are not immune from the misapplication of funds.
Yeah.
All right. At this point, we'll take a look at what led to the whole fiasco in the first place, because this report by Chiazalam Ekie attempts to situate the background to this debate.
The quest for local government autonomy in Nigeria has been on for decades. From the 1950s, various reforms such as the Northern Nigerian Local Government Law in 1954, the Western and Eastern Nigerian Local Government Laws were all initiated with the aim of democratizing local government administration. Yet the regions had strong grip of control. This master-servant relationship between local governments and states did not change until the 1976 reforms. Even then, the local governments are not so autonomous. In view of the importance of this tier of government to the development of the grassroots, local governments were subsequently created to bring the number to 774 local government areas. The statutory function of the local government includes provision of basic amenities to the citizens. Local government depend on internally generated revenue, allocations from the national purse, and other investments. However, there is a provision of state joint local government account, which is maintained by each state government from which allocations are made from the federation account. But over time, the state governments dip their hands into local government funds, denying them access to their funds, thereby making them ineffective. This has given rise to the clamor for financial autonomy. Given the change mantra of the Buhari administration on zero tolerance to corruption, the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Agency, on the directive of the president, announced that with effect from June 2019, governors, banks, and other financial institutions will no longer meddle with the monthly allocation due local governments in Nigeria. This is to curb corruption, money laundering, security threats, and accountability at the grassroots.
It is a noble and a welcome one to Nolge as a union and as a family.
But can there be an absolute autonomy given the interdependence of the three tiers of government?
Allocations come to the federal government, some of which goes to the state, some of which should go to local governments. So there will be areas where there are cross functions, where local government has to contribute, the state has to contribute, federal government has to contribute. But all things are spelled out in the correct schedule.
The Senate reacting swiftly threw its weight behind the new financial guidelines for local governments.
The intent of the Constitution is clearly to support the local government in a way so that they can begin to provide one or two services.
Some of them could not even pay salaries.
But it's not that the laws are not there. The laws are just complying with the laws.
The Houses of Assembly granted autonomy to themselves, but they refused to grant autonomy to the local government. I think this is unfair.
All eyes are now on June, when the new directive will take effect, and it is also a time that new governments will assume in some states after the 2019 general elections. Chiazalam Ekie, NTA News.
All right, and that report, perhaps at this point in time we'll return to the phones. If we still have Evans who's calling in from Rivers. Are you there, Evans? From Rivers. Hello. Okay, so we've lost that call. But at this point in time, we'll take a short break. When we return, there'll be more on what happens on the 1st of June, when this directive is expected to have come into place. Stay with us at NTA Tuesday Live. We'll be back shortly.
Nigerians, our fearless officers and men of the Nigerian military are winning the war against Boko Haram. Today, all occupied territories have been recovered and Boko Haram has been degraded. Our affected brothers and sisters are getting their lives back. However, they are now after you and me. In our mosques, churches, schools, motor parks, markets, entertainment centers, and public gatherings. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me. Nigeria, unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Make you report any crooked person, object or wakajube movement to police and security agent demo.
The security of our nation now work for all of us, plus including me and you.
Nigeria, make we unite against terrorism. The Federal Ministry of Information and Culture bring on this message.
NTA Tuesday Live, a network issue-oriented innovation talk show.
Thanks for staying with us. We took out the cameras and we spoke to Nigerians, and let's get to see their views.
I commend federal government for this action because the local government chairmen were just like houseboys to the governors. They rely on them for everything. I think when I was a little child, I used to acknowledge some projects handled by local government, even as they have that power to award contracts and do so many things on their own because of the allocation going to them direct. They should look inward. Think of what to do to better the life of the people.
This is a very good development. If the government would send the funds of the local government directly to them, this will help the local government improve their community and develop things there and create infrastructures for the people that live in the community. They should allocate the funds efficiently to proper projects that they need to carry out in their environment so that the standard of living of the people will improve in their community.
The local government should, the best way they can, manage the funds and see how they can bring infrastructures and good projects close to the people.
The voice of Nigerians. And just as that was going on, we were joined by Senator Sabi Abdullahi, who is Chairman, Senate Committee on Media and Publicity. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Right. Incidentally, just before you stepped in, one of the reports we carried here, we saw you speaking on the floor of the Senate on this same matter, the directive by the Financial Intelligence Unit. We also saw some other of your colleagues, senators, airing, other divergent opinions. Now, two things first. Would ask you what your feeling is about this directive from the NFIU, one, and the position you took on the floor of the Senate. Would that be the position of the Senate, or would that be Senator Sabi Abdullahi speaking?
Well, thank you for having me. First, permit me to apologize for coming late. It's not in my character. I think it was just a mix-up in terms of the fact that you've relocated to this brand new location. Having said this, first let me establish the fact that for me, local governments, I see them as something that is very necessary and sufficient for us to be able to move our country forward. For the simple reason that, as it is being said, times without number, incontrovertibly, that they are the closest to the people. Now, I would like to establish a fact from the Nigerian Constitution, which says very clearly that the primary purpose of governance is the welfare and security of the people. Now, having established that, let's look at what is happening today. Today, Nigeria is facing a very gargantuan challenge in terms of the scale, the depth, and the scope of our insecurity. And personally, my attachment to local government is not unfounded. My father worked in the local government, and as a child, I've had cause to always go to local government where he works. He was head of works. And so in that local government, I've seen firsthand how works are being carried out to better our community. But fast forward to what we're having now. The local governments, to me, they are only existing in paper. Why do I say so? If you go to each of the local governments, in particular in the north, because you must also disaggregate the fact that if you check in the south, they seem to have a better way of managing institutions than what we have in the north. I think we have to come out of our shell and accept this hard reality. The local governments in the north, today, if you go there, you don't see anybody. And I recalled one experience when my mother visited me in Abuja when I started work. And 10 o'clock, because I was a personal assistant to a director, we didn't close until 10. By the time I got home, I met her looking troubled. I said, what is this? She said, she thought by 12, if I come for food, that's all. I will stay at home. Because that has been what you will see in the local government. They come to work around 10. By 12, they start disaggregating out to go for prayers, eat, and from there they are gone. So for me, it may not be a general thing, but I think that is more or less what you see in many places. So to come back to the issues, for me, that particular motion was, of course, following the guidelines from the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. And I looked at it. We had constitutional amendment earlier, and for which we are saying, for us in the Senate, we voted for the autonomy of the local government. We agreed on that, the National Assembly generally, because it was all carried both in the Senate and in the House of Reps. Up to this very moment, I don't think we've gotten the required number for that amendment to become law. Now, when these guidelines was given, I took my time because of my interest and looked at the guideline. And I saw that it was an innovative way of getting certain things done. They got back to that particular section. I think it's section 162. And what that section is talking about is the formation or the establishment of the state and local government joint account. And what they are saying here is that in the joint account, of course, you put in the funds of the local government. And the guideline is saying when you put the fund there, the state should go ahead and allocate the funds to an account belonging to the local government, so that for salaries, for overhead, and for capital. Rather than the present practice where most of the spending is done from that same account. This motion, I must tell you, was carried completely by the entire Senate. So as it is no longer a personal view of Senator Aliu Sabi Abdullah, who sponsored the motion. It was carried completely by the Senate. The person who gave a dissenting view, with due respect, distinguished Senator Jonah Jang, did not understand the issues because perhaps he was not following. He even said whether it was a bill. We said, no, it's not a bill, it's a motion. And I think I remember vividly after we finished sitting that very day, when we got talking, he understood the issues we are trying to bring. And to me, these issues become very, very, very pertinent because we've gotten to a stage in which we must pause and ask hard questions so that we can do what is necessary. All of us here belongs to one local government or the other, and I know for sure all of us on this table, we've had cause to fill a form where they will ask you, local government area. But the question to ask is, what is the status, what is the health of that local government that you are putting as your local government?
All right. Just before we bring in Governor Yari on this, we have Umar Anachi, who I believe is still on the line, waiting from Birnin Kebi. Hello, Umar. Are you still with us?
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much for staying on. Let's hear you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Siro. I think the issue of the state local government joint account is a matter of constitution. And the constitution needs to be amended. But the question is, with due respect to the governor of Zamfara State, His Excellency Abdul'aziz Yari, will they allow that amendment to take place? Yes. The governors, will they allow that amendment to take place? The State House of Assembly, to me, is just an extension of the government house. To be frank, whatever the governors want, that is what they want. Whatever the governors don't want, that is what they don't need. So it's just an extension of the government house. Sometimes they carry out directives. They take their directive directly from the government house. Look at what is happening in Kano. So if the governors want, that amendment will be done. Thank God to Buhari administration that legislates for independence of the House of Assembly. If that thing is carried out, perhaps some things will take place. But as it is now, I'm afraid. May God continue to bless our country.
Well, thank you very much, Umar Anachi from Birnin Kebi. Well, we've had Senator Sabi Abdullahi, but just before you come in, Mr. Governor, what is the position of what you have done and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much. Like I said, what I saw in that guideline is not to go against the provision of the Constitution. Clearly, what they have said in the circular that I've read is to say that when funds are allocated into that joint account, that intendment is that the states are now going to appropriate the funds to the various local governments. Now, in doing so, that is why the circular went further to say that they are urged to establish each local government salary account, what do they call it, capital account, and I think, is it overhead? I think about 3 accounts. I think the intendment here is that whatever it is, because the joint account is also saying states are supposed to bring their own portion. So that after putting that particular state portion, okay, then they will now sit down in that joint account meeting to now give each of their local government what they believe based on the law from the State House of Assembly.
Right.
Should go to each of the local governments.
So with this background, does the NFIU have the constitutional power to issue these guidelines to states?
What I have seen from what they have done is they are providing a guidelines in terms of cash management. Okay. They have not said, do not spend the money. They have not said, do not give local government X 1 kobo or 10 kobo. But what they are saying is, let there be account, not that state joint account, because that state and local government joint account is meant to share the money to each of the local governments. And when you are sharing, you must specify if it is salary, if it is, what do they call it, capital, so that it goes into the respective local government's own account. Then that way, when the local government are doing their spending, that is where they went further to say, let there be evidence of check and whatnot. Right now, my understanding, and I stand to be corrected, is that the funds are spent from the joint account directly.
Well, Governor,
and this may not necessarily be for all the states, because even in the report that I've seen, there are states that are doing fantastically well when it comes to this aspect of managing the local government.
Well, let me start by the Umar Anachi, who says whether we governors can allow. Let me start this in 20 years, I think, during Obasanjo's time, Yar'Adua, Jonathan, all amendments. So, I think during Jonathan, the amendment was scaled through, all the way. And during Jonathan, that's what it is.
Not scaled through.
2014.
Two states did not provide approval for them to meet the required number.
Well, so the state cannot be a stumbling block on what they call so-called autonomy. The autonomy, what I'm trying to understand is why are we copying this system from the United States? How is the county being operated in the United States where we're copying this system from? The state and local government is not meant, even in this constitution, which I believe is directly from that place, that is meant to be independent, as lawyer says, is dependent on the state. We can understand the agitation they're saying that there's a time there's no joint account, and there's this problem. Money are being spent from the center here, contract are being issued from here. So what are we talking about? So therefore, I think we need to know the situation we are in today and look at what we should do best to suit our own community as provided in Section 7 of the Constitution. That the National Assembly, State Assembly, and other managers, they should put the local government management on a manner that will suit the community that particular local government is all about. What are we talking about? We're talking about the money. And also we also talk about expenditure. One, when I told you before you came in, I said in 2007, I'm one of the architecture that's independent of the local government. I could remember Solamidi called me. I said, honorable member, do you know what is here? I said, well, to the best of my knowledge, we should have a free way of doing election, not winner take all. The INEC should take control of the election. And also the independent, everyone should get his, as was happening some time back. He said, well, maybe I wish one day you'll be here. And I think that day I got his answer as prayer. And I joined them. So when you get in there, for instance, the joint account is there. And also there is a loss of state assemblies on expenditure where the section of the Constitution very clearly says administration and finances lies on the state house assemblies. That's what the Constitution says. Yeah. Okay. So now the finance laws, for instance, when I said on the issue of salaries, the one that came in about 6 local government cannot pay because they have taken overdraft on every money. So we said, okay, first and foremost, let us make loss of salaries. Let's get the salary out before any other thing. And since then, we are getting salaries first and then to each and every local government. You will send the salary to the account of salary. When you get there, the bank will say, there's outstanding agreement with this local government. So the money will sink in there. You have to provide another money for another salary. 1. 2, before, there's no loss of what do you call them? Emirate councils. And what have you? And other related little laws that are being sent on finances which required the joint account to be there. And I think we need to go further. Why that joint account? Joint account, yes, there and says, okay, when you sit down and take the money to each and every local, and that's exactly some of the states are doing. I cannot say all, because when there's outcry, mostly there's something they're cooking in there. Right. So after taking what is due statutory, what they call statutory, like training, as you know, training, Emirate Council, salaries, other things that they put the loss on, the money's got to go there. And if there's anything payment made, there should be a law of assembly and a law of local government. If there's anything to be made, collection from the center, which is allowed by the law. So, but what I'm saying to the point is here, The NFIU, they have not any backing wherever in the Constitution of Nigeria or in even their own laws to say that, okay, we now understand that there's a problem, therefore these are the guidelines. They can't provide guidelines for this state. We are created by the Constitution. They are created by National Assembly Act. So therefore they cannot.
Okay.
So therefore, as you said, the question that you lastly forgetting, that what happened in June, nothing will happen in June 1st.
Okay.
Nothing.
So
because if you go there,
maybe just one point.
If you go there,
well,
if you go there, you are contradicting the Section 7 and you're contradicting Section 1.
We will return to the issue of what happens on the 1st of June.
Thank you.
But just before you
one short point.
Yes, yes.
You see, with due respect to His Excellency, what I would like to establish here is for us to all sit down and ask ourselves some very hard, critical questions. If the laws, as they are couched, are our masters, then this master is failing us.
Okay.
And I think what is important for me is that it's a matter of understanding. And whatever it is that is in this Constitution, for example, that same section that we hinge on, is saying that states should also bring certain percentage.
Yeah, of course.
I want to say it without fear of being contradicted. Majority of the states do not put anything in there.
Certainly. Let me, the truth of the matter, as I am in here, I know about 30% of some states, about 20 states or 15, are contributing to payment of the salary of the local government.
Okay, at this point, let us...
and they're taking the loan on behalf of the local government. For instance, the bailout, they're given by the president. It is still they're paying, not local government.
All right.
And when we're to discussion on this matter, your deputy senate president was there, and the speaker was there. And also, joined the joint of conference of speakers are also there. With the governor saying, okay, go ahead with the autonomy of local government, go ahead with the autonomy of the state assembly. We have no problem. But you have to get ready for the consequence of what is there. Because about 7 states at that time, when they're in that meeting, I can remember Ogun, that's there, who says that he is contributing each and every month for over 25% of what they are earning to pay for the local government to go and pay their salaries. So therefore, on doing this, we need, what I'm saying, we need to do a kind of sensitization. We are all stakeholders.
Absolutely.
No, we are given responsibility by the Constitution. We are given the Constitution. We are given the mandate by our people.
Okay.
And nobody will say that I love this thing more than what we do as the Constitution people. So therefore, I think before any other person get up or wake up in the center and say this is what we're going to do, they need to do a kind of sensitization. This is what we're trying to do.
All right. So Governor, we will at this point go back to our Lagos Center. And Dr. Tunji Abayomi, sometimes when issues like this are raised, there are two sides to it. People say this is all political. And, well, there will be always a political solution to political issues. Do you see this as a political matter, a constitutional matter? Or if there is, what's the way out of it? How would this be resolved? Although Governor Yari has said that on the 1st of June, nothing will happen. But we'll return to him and find out just what that would happen. What are your views?
There is obviously a political aspect to the whole dialogue. The Constitution expects a democratically elected local government. When the local government officials are elected and they basically have a legislature of some form, that kind of local government is empowered because it derives its authority from the people, and therefore it can stand for the interests of the people, and it can even stand against the state government in matters that appertain to the interests and rights of the people. But when local government are largely appointed, they are appointees of the state governor, obviously they are disempowered. So in my view, one of the ways by which some level of control can be imposed in this issue of expenditure is for the federal government to ensure that local governments are elected by the people, and to deny states that merely appoint chairmen of local government the right to do so. I believe that some level of control will be exercised. Now, going back to what the senator said, the truth of the matter is that, yes, there are abuses in the local governments, but most of these abuses are actually committed by local government officials. We must also appreciate that. The other issue is that if you now create an account and you send the money directly to them, you may in fact increase the abuse without some level of control. And the mere fact that you now say that, oh, you create this account and giving directive to the states on how that money is to be spent does not in itself guarantee or resolve the problems that is intended to be resolved. All in all, the most secure process is a process that abides strictly with the Constitution. Like I said, in this matter, the power to control all these issues with regard to the local government, their expenditure, their composition, and all of that, the power belongs to the houses of assembly of the states. And it is important for us as a people to ensure that these houses of assembly wake up, more or less like the National Assembly wakes up to guide the interests of this nation. We can commend the National Assembly. We can commend the Senate that they are trying. We can also commend the House of Representatives that they are trying when it comes to the affairs of this nation, in spite of all the challenges. But how well can we talk about the houses of assembly of the Federation? So that's where I believe the power lies. The power, as far as I'm concerned, constitutionally, does not reside on any agency, and certainly does not reside in the federal government. The power is exclusively the prerogative of the state government, and the state houses of assembly.
Oh, Ibrahim Khalil, you're going to come in here with a point
yes,
on that. Right?
What I'm trying to say is that the main bone of contention here is whether this local government are allowed to function or not, whether elected or appointed. That is the issue. And how can a local government function when the fund meant for this tier of government are not reaching the tier of government? We have been witnessing a lot of confusion in the system because of the level of interference. And people keep on giving the example of America. If you go to America, the system is working. And why is it working? Even in America, there is what is called federal grant coming to local government. Nobody touched the federal grant coming to local government at the state level. It comes directly to the local government. And the local government has the capacity, and they are allowed by law and administratively to administer their own fund through by way of providing their budget, implementing their budget, and executing their projects. But reverse is the case in our own case. Even the budget in most states is prepared by the state houses of assembly. Is even when the elected representatives in local government are in place. That is not supposed to be so. And what we are saying, the main issue of governance is about people. And the only way we can carry people along is by having a functional local government system. That is the key issue.
All right, Senator, let me just put this well.
Okay, I used to get lost with what Khalil is saying,
right,
that local government is not going there. Please, may I ask, where is the response going?
Well, Perhaps he has. Perhaps you have specific examples of that. Governor Yari says it's not the same in his state. Do you
I believe His Excellency knows what I'm saying.
All right.
Where are those
Because they are the managers, the chief executive.
No. Where are those funds going?
Managing those funds at the level of
where are those funds going?
Okay. Well, Governor Yari may well know, but Nigerians watching would like you to state.
Going? If they are not going to the local government, for the interest of local government, where are they going? For instance, salary. Is it not the interest of local government? Emirate Council, is it not the interest of local government? Health workers, is it not the interest of local government? Mass education, is it not the interest of local government? We need to know. Because the indictment of the local government governors is too much in Nigeria. One day, you find out the person, the right person will be governor, will not be governor. Because all these things are centered on governors. No, it's not fair. And one day you may be one.
All right.
One day you may be one.
Senator, let me put this to you.
This is very serious that Nigerians need to know.
Yeah, you said it all.
Because at any point in time, they will say governors, local government governors, not the governors, what are they doing with those funds? I need to know. Governors need to know. Nigerians need to know. What are they doing?
Okay.
This is very serious.
Senator, let me take you back.
And governors cannot be holding their arm and be being abused. Right. By June 1st, I may not be governor. Okay. But it's an obligation to me to defend the system.
All right.
That I know on.
Okay.
So what are those governors doing with those funds? All I know, we are concerned with the president and governors whose salary is not paid. And you know, governors the salaries are being paid, teachers are being paid, pension is being paid, and etc.
In some states.
What? No problem.
In some states.
No
okay, Governor Yari, we will.
Whatever it is,
we will put a pause on this aspect.
Funds are being utilized for the local government.
We will put a pause on this aspect and move ahead a bit.
Tell us where these monies go and who's taking it to anywhere.
We'll
and abuse of by this NFI money laundering.
Okay.
How can I be a governor as the Constitution giving the power says approve and say I'm going to do money laundering?
All right, we'll return to this issue, but let me bring in Senator Sabi Abdullahi at this point. And you referred to something earlier on. You said if this law is what is our master, then it is not serving us well. But I'm taking it back to you. Is there some issue about how the law has been couched? If there is, then who is in a better position to do something about it than you?
All right, thank you very much. Yes.
As in the legislature.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And that is why I think the last constitutional amendment, we have looked critically at the gaps in this particular constitution with respect to various aspects of our national life. And the local government aspect we're talking about, I think we have done justice to the various amendments. And in the motion I raised, that was why one of the prayers was to urge the state governors, the House of Assembly, to fast-track release of their own approval of this amendment so that we can get the required 2/3 to make this amendment. Now, suffice it to say one thing here. My take here is that I think we shouldn't look at these issues from a personal point of view. The question we should ask ourselves, at least I'm old enough to have seen local government trajectory. The local government I knew as a child, as a secondary school student, as a university student, and when I started working, and up to this particular moment that I'm privileged to be a legislator, a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I think clearly there is a difference. And what I can say in this difference is that how come the local government of those days that I know were functional? You go to the offices, you see staff coming to work. Those who are erring are being given query, as you see, even in state or federal level. And I think this is where I would like to challenge all of us as stakeholders. With due respect to what His Excellency said, we are all stakeholders. Today, it is the failure of governance, whether we like it or not. I read a report which looked at, for example, rural banditry in northern Nigeria. And that report clearly x-rayed things that are happening. Whether it is by design, by default, or whatever, the reality, stark reality on ground, is that the local governments right now are not able to discharge certain responsibilities.
Why would that be?
And I think what I want us to do by virtue of this particular platform in engaging Nigerians to understand the issues is we must begin to agree that all is not well.
Yeah.
And because all is not well, we have a duty, a very patriotic duty, and a personal duty, a personal service to all our citizens to make sure that these things work. Because I know today, His Excellency is here. Those who ought not to come to him with their problems are coming to him with their problems. They ought to stop at that lower level. But they'll come to him. They ambush him. And he knows fully well, like every one of us, they know your movement. You come to Abuja, they are here in Abuja waiting for you. So my take is that all is not well. And as far as I'm concerned, whatever it takes all of us to do, because we shouldn't be debating or arguing about what the law says. It is how we apply ourselves to the law. And the application of the law as it is right now is full of so many problems. My take simply is that if we empower the local government, because one of the things people keep saying is that they don't have capacity. How can they have capacity when they've never worked? I'm a veterinarian. If I'm not using my hand every day, there's what we call disuse atrophy. The local governments have suffered from disuse atrophy, with due respect. Because all the functional departments I used to know them before, they're no longer there. I did my first attachment as a veterinary student in the agri department of my local government. And I knew the extent to which we were providing extension services and moving all over. Today, that is not happening. In fact, I don't even know who is even the head of agri.
Would you say this?
So the point I want to establish,
right.
The point I want to establish is, and I'm sure His Excellency will agree fully with me, that definitely we have some work to do.
A lot.
Because I know he's passionate about something, and he would like to leave a legacy. Whatever legacy we're going to leave, the moment that layer, that tire of governance, the moment it is not functional, honestly, our work is not done.
Well, but the big question still remains. How are you going to make it functional? Now, you talked about
how
capacity,
to make it functional is very simple. People are at that level.
The Senator Sabi Abdul'aziz of this world would not go to the local government to hold office.
No,
maybe
that is not
one
true.
or two, if you talk about capacity.
The reason why this is not happening now is because if you go there, what are you going to hold? Straw? If you go back there, what are you going to hold? Straw? I knew is it in Benue State? A former deputy governor went back to go and contest for, what did they call it? For councillor. I knew another place where a professor went to go and contest for councillor. This is service to our people. But what I'm saying in essence is that the way governance is structured, I worked in the federal level. And I knew ministries, departments, and agencies are functional, are working. But with due respect, as you come to the state, the level of work, depending on the state, ministries of agriculture, ministries of this and that at the state level, their work level is not commensurate with what is happening at the federal level. The same thing if you go down to the local government. But I must say one thing. I remember a program I saw where in Ondo State, a local government, the health department, they were doing sanitation. That local government alone, the chairman said he wants sanitation so that the element of disease due to poor sanitation can reduce. And he gave an order and they worked. And I said, well, this is how it's supposed to be. But it takes a lot for that to happen. That's the point we're making.
Well, Governor Yari, would the Governors Forum go to court on this matter?
Well, it's not the matter of court. The issue is don't require, because there's already a Supreme Court judgment on this issue in 2000. I bear Lagos versus federal government, so it didn't have to go back to court. But if the federal government insists, definitely we will go and seek interpretation. That's all. But there are already existing Supreme Court judgment interpreting Section 7 and Section 162 about the issue of law. So that's no contention. But what I'm saying, we can understand there's lacuna in the system, in the paper, in everything. Our worries, the system is being treated or seen as the worst system, state system. That's a problem. What you're going to do we have a forum of governors. And these governors were given the powers by the Constitution as is given to the President of Nigeria. In my state, I'm the President of my state. The President has nothing to do with Zamfara State. If I decide to be in Zamfara State forever, not coming to Abuja, nothing will happen. Even to congregate president, nothing. I'm independent by this Constitution. But we need to work together because the problem of the economy is one. We're eating in one basket. We need to come and see how we can put the organization on how the economy will be best down there and up here and support the policy of the government. But how can you just wake up over a night as agency and say put guidelines? All right. You must go and do sensitization, advocacy, talk to the National Assembly, talk to governors. This is what we're looking for. No, not in this system, not in this.
I think that was why we decided to bring the matter forward.
With this problem,
so that we can talk more about it.
With this problem, nothing, absolutely nothing will happen in first June.
All right.
By then, I'm not a governor.
Okay.
But that's what I believe.
All right. We'll say. As we begin to wind down, Dr. Abayomi, what are your closing thoughts on this matter as we wind down? Right. Yes, Dr. Abayomi.
The account is called Joint State and Local Government Account. That means that it is a partnership of some sort between the federal and the state. In my view, it will be inappropriate for the federal government to give directive on the funds that does not belong to it all alone. The state is expected to contribute its own portion to that fund, and to merely just come and give directive without consultation or without a joint understanding, I think it will contradict the Constitution. Like I have said, finally, yes, there are lots of issues, and the Senator has expressed them very, very well. And greatly the concern, and that also reflects the concern of quite a number of people in this country. I'm from Ondo State. Luckily enough, he already indicated that in some states things work. But the reality of the matter remains that the way to solve this problem is to strengthen constitutional institutions that are given the power, granted the power to manage properly these problems. And I believe that the houses of assembly need to be further strengthened in their duty to handle issues relating to the local government. This is my view. As of today, the power over local government is the prerogative of the state government and the state houses of assembly.
Senator, is there another way out of this? Well, the governor says if they insist, seek legal interpretation.
Let me say that, fortunately, His Excellency Governor Yari said by June he will have been back to the Senate. And I think we will have been about 10, 11 days to be inaugurated for the next Senate. Well, one thing I must say is that even in the Senate, we have governors who have served, who are convert of the reality about local government. And I think even in that particular motion, I remember somebody jocularly saying that I want to thank the Senate branch of the Governors Forum for their new, make-believe. On a serious note, sir, the point I want to make is, it's not about who is right and who is wrong. The issue is an existential problem. And that is why today, what we are facing in terms of security challenges cannot be divorced from the poor governance at that particular tier where people are very close. That is one hard reality that we must face. And I think if, like we all know, coming back to the analogy His Excellency made earlier, that we're in the same boat, that man who is in the lower deck, he has a leaked portion, and water is sieving in. If you don't pay attention to it, that's your higher ground will no longer hold for you. And I think that is, to me, a reality that we have seen. And I would like to say that all of us as stakeholders should go back to the constitutional amendment, complete it. Unfortunately, we are talking to the chairman of the Governors Forum. It will be a great service, a particular gift to Nigerians having served meritoriously for 8 years, that during your time, sir, as the chairman, Nigerian Governors Forum, that jinx about local government finances is being properly sorted out. Because one reality is that because of the joint account, a number of local governments are living on borrowed money.
Why?
Because when you put the money in the joint account and they are not able to, some local governments don't have enough staff. They have more money, but they have excess when they pay their salary.
That's the essence of joint.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the essence of joint.
The point I'm saying, sir, is that we do respect if we continue in that particular fashion.
No, that's the essence of joint.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Wait, in the United States, some county are not viable. They're being auctioned. They're being auctioned.
Fine.
So the reason why those that did the joint account, they are not mad. Because some local government cannot do without one another. That's the truth.
I agree with you,
So
sir.
therefore,
That should come through intergovernmental mechanism. Not through this kind of arrangement.
Which arrangement?
Yes, because even in America, you are talking about
There's
the
not arrangement. Is this arrangement?
It's an arrangement.
Constitution arrangement?
Yes.
It's not.
All right.
Well, I wanted to make a point and line.
Let's finish
so
up
if
the
you
point.
just permit
Yes,
me,
go right ahead.
the point I'm saying, Your Excellency, is that irrespective of whatever we look at it, Nigerians out there are bleeding. Nigerians out there are asking for service. At that lower level, simple water supply, simple health services, little things that we know happens before at that level.
No.
What I'm saying in essence is that the present system is not...
Senator, I disagree with you completely. Because the reason, if you say that, what are you doing about even the federal budget? Can you show me the sign of anything federal there?
Sir, with due respect, sir.
Are you not doing appropriating the money?
Sir,
are you not doing appropriating the money?
Of course.
You are doing appropriating the money.
Yes.
And you have to do oversight on it.
We are doing our oversight.
So you can't say that, look, I cannot see water. No, it's in that that's what we cannot
sir,
take.
I'm not saying, you see, sir, this government, the issue of government...
In the final analysis...
Please, let me...
In the final analysis...
If you want...
We'll just let you, within the next 2 minutes...
If the National Assembly abolish the state and local government, let the federal.
Okay, let's just round it off on your talk.
I said
governors.
I said let's look
at
it.
That's what
it's not the issue of governors.
Okay, fine. Senator Abdul'aziz, let's round it off in the next 2 minutes because Khalil has a final word.
His Excellency will not
No, go ahead. Go right ahead.
Because, sir, I said it is not a personal
Go right ahead.
I do respect, please.
Okay. Just
with
go
due
on.
respect, sir.
Okay. Just go on.
There is nothing personal.
Just go
But
on.
what I'm saying is, as a citizen, as a legislature, I represent people also.
Okay.
Just like the governors have the overall power over a state, we also are elected, and we are concerned with the fate as far as the welfare and security of our citizens are concerned. Okay. Today, it is a known fact that we have security challenges.
Right.
He is not resting. Is he resting? No. So every little help, I believe, to make this country better, I think should be welcomed. The point I'm making here is that whichever way we want to look at it, whatever the law is saying, if the law is not working as far as some of the issues we are talking about is concerned, let's put our heads together and make it work. Remember, the Constitution clearly said the state houses of assembly have to provide laws that will help the local government to be managed.
Of course.
And if that has to happen, where they are failing, I think there is more question we need to ask.
All right.
And that's the point I'm making.
Fine. Okay. Ibrahim Khalil, your closing comments.
Yeah, I think, sincerely speaking, distinguished senator has spoken very well. And what is lacking, actually, is carrying these people along, the people at the grassroots level. We saw the sample of opinion. If you go out there, Nigerians are yearning for a functional local government system. local governments that will have some degree of independence to operate as a tier of government, because that is the government that is closer to them. What we are seeing today in terms of security is as a result of this disconnect from the people and the governors. That is causing chaos in the society. And the only way we can fix it is by having local government. Rural-urban migration is adding to our problem. Youth are not staying in their villages because there is no opportunity for them. So we need this local government actually to stabilize.
All right. From the point of the union, Nulge, as president of Nulge, you have the legislator right there. If you see that an aspect of the laws that govern these issues would need to be tinkered with, at Nulge level, have you carried an advocacy and gone to Senator Sabia Abdullahi and say, here we are as a pressure group, let us look for a way to smoothen these rough edges?
We have been doing that. I don't know the number of times I even visited His Excellency on the same advocacy we are talking about. And the National Assembly have been our good friends. We have been visiting them. We have been working together with them. That was how we put the last amendment bill in place and pushed it to state assemblies. And it was hijacked at that level. It's still hanging. And I think from
His Excellency, that would be his parting gift.
Okay.
Well, that would be his parting gift. I'm sure Your Excellency, that would be your parting gift.
Okay, so let's hear from the governor. If, as the senator says, that will be your parting gift.
Yeah, that should be his parting gift.
Let me say, my roundup is a prayer. I pray Almighty Allah will spare my life to see the day that this autonomy will happen.
Okay.
And we'll see the difference.
All right.
Then, I'll pray for the two guys here, gentlemen.
Right.
I pray Almighty Allah will let them wear my shoe.
Okay.
And they'll see where I click. So, what I'm saying, development, everyone knows about it. And also, we are concerned about it as a leaders.
Okay.
The reason why I'm worried, sometimes I get emotional, is when you look at what you are doing and what your colleagues, they are struggling to survive even the local government system. And other people on the other side are seeing otherwise. Then you say, okay, what is this thankless job you are doing? But anyway, you are committed to that. You are given the opportunity to do that. You thank Almighty that taking you out of millions to lead is something different. Now, when we said, okay, the autonomy, it's just like saying that we are looking for true federalism.
Okay.
To Sabi is different, to Kali is different, to me is different, and to Sari is different. So it's just like when they're saying independent. Is it only about the money?
Okay.
Is it? It's not.
Well,
as you said, no. At
this point, we'll have to leave this conversation.
Sorry, just 1 point, sir. 1 point, sir.
Is it about democratic? Is it about the money?
Sir, 1 point.
It's not about money.
Unfortunately,
I will give you one question.
For instance,
unfortunately, we have just about run out of time, and we must leave this discussion here. And thank all our guests for coming. Let's start off with Dr. Tunji Abayomi, who is in our Lagos Center. Dr. Abayomi, it's always interesting to have you join us on our conversations. Thank you for being part of this discussion.
Thank you.
Part of this discussion. Well, Senator Sabi Abdullahi, you speak for the Senate. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Like I will tell His Excellency, activities consume resources.
All right. Okay. Ibrahim Khalil, President, Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees, NULGE. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
And Governor Abdul'aziz Yari, we must thank you very much for being here. As Governor of Zamfara State and Chairman of the Governors Forum.
Thank you.
And we thank you. And thank you to you too for being part of this program. Next week we'll reach you again on NTA Tuesday Live. I'm Cyril Stover. Bye for now.
NTA. You can't beat the rich.
Imagine a station where you access information. Think of a station that creates awareness for national development. Imagine a station that prepares you for a bright and greater future. A station for all ages. Documentaries, classroom and television, events coverage, children's programs and variety shows. Always stay tuned to NTA Knowledge on the StarTimes platform, channel 359. For partnership, sponsorship and advert placements, contact us on NTA Knowledge. NTA Knowledge, learning to broaden horizon.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link. And be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.
Lives are in your hands while you drive. Protect yourself and others on the road. Road Matters, shown on the network service of the NTA every Thursday at 11 a.m. Join us.
I'm actually a passionate baker. I don't rest until everything is done.
When I entered university, anytime I'm broke, I'll make cupcakes and go and sell to the other students.
Decorating cake it's an artistic thing, and art is, dynamic.
Join us on Baker's World every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. on the network service of the NTA. Baker's World, celebrating creativity. Don't miss it.
This is the network service of the NTA.